many of you have asked the question, what can I, as an individual, a single person, do to help protect our planet? Well, if you're looking for a role to play, I might have the answer for you in the most important journey of our time. Let me explain. At the age of 12, I was walking home from school, and I stumbled upon this beautiful poster of my favorite animal, the emperor penguin. This penguin was walking across a desert, which was so confusing to me, because penguins are supposed to be surrounded by glaciers and ice. So I ran to the local video store to rent this penguin movie. Little did I know that this film was An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a documentary that talks about the science behind the climate crisis, the fate of our planet, and the looming extinction of countless of species, not just penguins, including humankind. That was the origin point in my story. Your origin point might be when you're scuba diving or snorkeling on vacation, and you're looking for fish and wildlife, and you're surrounded by plastic. Or the fear you feel when you see wildfires too close to home. Or that knot you feel in your stomach when you look at your children and your grandchildren, and you're not sure if they're going to have clean air to breathe, animals to experience. Or in the worst of all cases, become climate refugees. We've all been there. We know something has got to change. Let me tell you about my catalyst moment. Fast forward a few years, I'm 19 years old, freshman at Georgetown University, and I was invited to attend a meeting at the United Nations. This meeting was on the state of the ocean. I had no idea what to expect. And so I'm sitting, listening to the list of problems. In the past 50 years, we have lost 69% of wildlife. By the year 2050, we will have more plastic than fish by weight in the ocean. When global average temperature rises to 2 degrees Celsius, we will have lost over 99% of coral reefs. So I'm standing there, and I'm wondering, who is going to say what's going to happen next? I was waiting for an ambassador, a scientist, a head of state to get up and say, and this is how we're going to solve these problems. But that moment never came. And so I'm hearing that the ocean is our greatest ally, the biggest asset we have. It absorbs carbon from the atmosphere. It feeds 3.1 billion people on the planet. Every second breath you take comes from the ocean. And yet, there were no solutions proposed. As a 19-year-old kid, I simply could not accept that to be my fate and the fate of generations to come. I could not take all of the statistics as foregone conclusions. I knew I had to do something. So I took it upon myself and decided to create a solution. When I left that UN meeting, I asked myself, what if I could recruit an entire generation and get them to roll up their collective sleeves and build solutions? That's when the idea of Sustainable Ocean Alliance was born. I wondered, if so many people had fallen into inaction, what would happen if we transformed that anxiety, that hopelessness, that fear that we all feel into transforming solutions? Solutions that would redefine industries, re-engineer business models, and disrupt the status quo, so that instead of harming our planet, we could regenerate, sustain, and heal our ocean and our world. That's the idea that I had. And so Sustainable Ocean Alliance, now a global nonprofit, has built the model to support, to scale, and grow these ideas. And today, I'm going to share with you a list, not one of gloom and doom like the one I heard at the UN, but one of hope and possibility. So let me give you a glimpse of what's in our future. Navier. It's the world's longest range hydrofoil water vehicle. It runs on electricity, glides over water, and it will soon transform the maritime transportation industry. CalWave. It's harnessing the power of waves to give us sustainable electricity. Loliware. Taking seaweed and transforming it into a material to make plastic obsolete. Starting with utensils made from seaweed, straws made from seaweed. This is the future of materials. Coral Vita, growing corals 50 times faster than what they would grow in water, making them more resilient to warming water temperatures. Stream Ocean, taking AI and cameras and measuring biodiversity in the ocean. Because if we don't know what's out there, how can we measure and protect it? The Deep Seabed Mining Campaign, a global movement of young people that are convincing governments worldwide to say no to deep seabed mining, to protect that last frontier. SOA Tanzania, working with their local communities to plant seagrasses and plant mangroves, restoring their own ecosystem. And this list goes on and on. All of these solutions have a commonality. They were started by one person or a group of people who had that origin point that reached their hearts, had that catalyst moment when an idea was born, and then decided to act. They were all told, it's a crazy idea, that's never going to work, it's impossible. But yet, they decided to try because they understood one fundamental truth. Being a spectator to the greatest fight of our lifetime is not an option. We all have a role to play. And so at the beginning of this talk, I offered you a role you could play. You have it for the taking. You can become an ecopreneur, which is what we like to call our for-profit startups. You can be an ocean leader. You can wake up every single day like so many people out there who are the doers, the visionaries, the inventors, with the mission in mind to build solutions. There's also a growing number of people who may not be entrepreneurial, but they're utilizing their networks, their skills, their passions to support these solutions. We call them ocean allies. Whether it is deciding to become an ecopreneur, an ocean ally, an ocean leader, the most important thing you will ever do is decide to act. Decide to act for the fate of our planet, of your family, of your own livelihood, on the only place we have to call home. Imagine if at this very moment, 1 million people decided to take such an action. What would our world look like? Thank you very much.